you about your vehicle being in the convoy. I'm going for safety reasons, we will be going into the closed areas. So I think I've spoken with most of the staffers about who's riding where. For the media, you'll be speaking with my deputy, Brian Jenkins, trying to fill in seats. All right, so, I'm sorry, Brian Van Vickle, my assistant PIO. So, Brian Jenkins, our incident commander.
Good morning. Good morning. Glad you guys are all able to make it up here to see the fire and get a little bit of information download. We're more than happy to answer any questions you have. We're getting a chance to go into the south end of the camp house fire. You'll see a little bit of how the fire burned, some of the structures in the area. You can see some of them on one side that may be standing in, and other ones that they may have lost in their structures. So you should get a good feel of how the fire is. Typical Minnesota fire, wind-driven, fuels-driven fires. You get those couple day runs, and then we get a weather change. Typical Minnesota. So what this is doing is really just giving us a couple days of reprieve, gives us an opportunity to shift resources around, get some more resources in that we're needing, so that we can focus on the priority areas again and make good progress as we take advantage of this. I'm glad you're all here. A little bit about our team. So we're an interagency incident command team made up of basically the eastern area or northeast area of the country. So we got Minnesota down to Missouri, West Virginia, all the way up to the Canadian border again. And then we got a few other folks sprinkled in around from around the country on the team. We are in part of the national teams. We got, it's changing as people are retiring here and there, but I believe the last count I saw was 41 national teams. So we're in a rotation with them. This happened to be our week that we were on a national rotation, so we were all put together, ready to go, and we were able to respond quickly here, which is good. So with that, I'm just going to kick it over to Corey. He's going to give you a high level where we're at with the fire, how it's looking out there right now, and where we're going with it. So, and we'll have a chance for some questions afterwards.
All right, thank you, Brian. My name is Corey Henry. I'm an operations section chief with the Eastern Area Complex Incident Management Team. And although this may make your guys' trip a little less enjoyable, I want to say thank you very much for bringing in the rain. Mother Nature is the best entity we have for Mount Walz. So, doing a quick overview of the fires. We'll start down here on the camp house fire, starting in Division Alpha. We're utilizing direct and indirect strategies, meaning that we're trying to get equipment in there and personnel in there to put line in directly along the fire's edge. Really focusing on areas of our critical values at risk, i.e. Structures, communications, towers, and infrastructure. And in areas that we have to use indirect, that means that perhaps there's a wet area that we can't get equipment into, we can't get personnel into. So we'll bump a little bit indirect and typically followed by a firing operation to bring black fire up to our line to make that control. So along the western line, we have Division Alpha. We continue with that direct and indirect strategy, really focusing on our critical values at risk outside of the fire's edge, which exists down there. Up in the Division Kilo, same thing. We have some hot shot crews and some equipment up in that area, going direct as possible. Really focusing on an AT&T tower up here and the SET Town Hall, our two critical values at risk up in that area, making sure that we're able to maintain communications with all the way up towards Ely. That's a critical piece of infrastructure in that tower. Moving along to the west, excuse me, the east. This is where it actually bumps into Lake County, so it's on the St. Louis County, Lake County on this side. We've got a real good, starting with a real good line around there. The crews in there will go direct with the dozer, and we have some hot shot crews in there. They also do something called pole trailing. So if there's a piece of the fire's edge that's cool, and we don't have to put dozer line and have that environmental impact, we do that. So that's strategies for campus. Moving up to Jenkins Creek, starting down on Bravo. So we got onto this fire. Started a little bit later, and we got folks in there a little bit later, so they really put a lot of time into strategizing how we were going to go about getting control in on this fire. This fire ran 16 miles south to north in 2 days, which again puts us at 26, about 35 miles of line after I get around. We currently have 4 hot shot crews on this fire. They're out assessing along with our divisions on how to get line in. Move up here into Juliet. This is where the majority of our critical values at risk reside. And that's community is Skybow. Fire actually pushed out towards Skybow yesterday. We had the hot shot crews as well as some aircraft in there working to protect those structures. They were very successful in protecting that community. Moving around to the north end of Juliet in November, we've got a Partridge Creek up here. We were able to work aircraft on the other day and hold it south of that Partridge Creek, really focusing on our critical values of risk to the north, which include that mine, as well as some power lines that power that mine. So really focusing on those critical values and the critical infrastructure. Moving around to November. Again, this country is big and beautifully ugly, we call it that, but very inaccessible. There's a lot of wetlands up there. There's a lot of blowdown up there, just a lot of country that's very difficult to get to. So we've got contract crews again up there assessing and putting in direct hand line where possible. We're also using those indirect strategies and follow up by firing with this average shot.
I know. This looks
Yeah,
the
it's
rain. Hooray!
Yeah, hey, we're in support. You guys, and finally, moving down to Romeo, really focusing on getting this the anchor points, so getting a really good spot to start the fire. To stop fire, so we can start building our lines up there tomorrow. So that's the general overview of our operations, and I can take questions if anyone has some here in a little bit.
How many people do you have out right now, and do you have all the people you need?
So if you look at both fires, we have probably about 250 people out. We have it broken up based on the resource needs per fire. So up here we're sitting at about 100 with the 4 hot shot crews, is about 80 folks. We've got the 2 hot shot crews, some engines, and other miscellaneous overhead down here. So a few more down here, which as this one gets done, we'll start putting there. In addition to that, we've also got the state response structure engines here, and that varies from day
Thank you all.
Ready.
Well, good morning, everyone. And first and foremost, an incredible debt of gratitude and thank you to all of the first responders who are here, state, local, the Eastern area coordinators, incident commanders from the Forest Service, volunteers who are here and have been here since Sunday, and of course to the communities impacted by these fires. They were fast moving. They were incredibly destructive. We have neighbors who've lost their homes and their property, and this fire is still at this point in time, while being managed, is still very much uncontained. If you're hearing it, the sound that everybody wanted to hear was the sound of rain on the roof up here. But as these experts will tell you, that basically just gives a little bit of reprieve to get ready to go again. This is going to be a fight over the coming days and potentially weeks as these fires are brought under control. I just want to say a thank you. We have our federal partners, Senator Klobuchar and Smith, are here. You're going to see the state representatives have come down in the middle of their work to make sure their voice is being heard, and all of the local folks, the mayors, thank you, county commissioners, all the folks that are here to make a difference, and then a special thank you to the Red Cross and the organizations that are here. I think the biggest thing is, and this is a big thank you to the resources will come, our federal partners will make sure that those are coming. The state is in a position that I know it's too early for a lot of folks that are in this room because they're fighting the fire to think about, but folks want to know what recovery looks like. And I think that commitment, knowing both from the federal and the state level, certainly neighbors will help neighbors, but that commitment to help folks rebuild. And it's this time I always give a huge thank you to the bipartisan work in the legislature that passed the disaster contingency account. That means if we can't get help federally from FEMA or the incident doesn't apply, we have broad authority to put that money in, and that account sets at $50 million a year to help for flooding, tornadoes, incidents like this. So just to reassure folks on this, it's hard, and we certainly know that it's going to be traumatic over the coming months, but the commitment to rebuilding is there. With that, I'm going to turn it to our federal partners with Senator Klobuchar and Smith.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, Governor. And I have never been happier for rain in my life, especially a hard rain and a rain that doesn't seem to be accompanied by wind, even though there's a lot of wind in the rest of the state right now. Our firefighters and first responders have just done incredible work here. And from a federal angle, our job was to make sure that FEMA helped out with a fire grant and got that as a major part of this effort. And we have both, Tina and I have both spoken with the head of the USDA, which runs a lot of this. Brooke Rawlings is secretary. and she has pledged to help in any way. And I put her in touch with the sheriff when he needed aerial maps, and they appeared to send them personally, so we got those. And we're just ready to help in any way. I am always amazed at how isolated these forests can be and how difficult the job is to fight these fires. You have properties that are separated by miles and miles, sometimes with limited communications. I learned today the work that's being done to protect the AT&T tower that provides the service to Ely, and the work that must be done to protect some critical infrastructure in these wild areas. But I want to thank them, and we are looking forward to thanking the firefighters personally. But as usual, northern Minnesota is up to the task, strong, and while these fires are not yet contained, we are doing everything we can because of the spirit of the people up here.
We came up today to hear firsthand what is happening with fighting this fire, to survey the damage for ourselves, and to be really clear that we're ready to do everything to help respond to this fire, and then also, as the governor and the senator said, to help these communities recover once the fire is put out. I am always amazed by the way I see these communities coming together, and also how I see the folks at the federal level and the state level and the local level all coming together, working in an incident command structure to make sure that we are as efficient and effective as we can in controlling these natural disasters. And that is characteristic of this part of the state, and wonderful to see. I heard this part of the state, northeastern Minnesota, described as, what was it, ugly beautiful or something like that, which I love, and it reminds us that it is complicated to fight fires in terrain like this, where there's lots of wetland, structures spread very, very far away from each other, and putting together the resources to be able to fight a fire in this environment is not easy. So thank you so much to everybody who is doing the work, including the volunteers and the EMS and everybody that is working. And my heart goes out to the folks who have lost their homes or their cabins, places that are so dear to them, things that they will never be able to replace. We're thinking about all of you as we look towards recovery.
Thank you all. We'd be glad if we don't want to hold these folks up too long. They're going to take us out and show us that. We'd be glad if there's a question or two. You've got some local officials here. The experts are, of course, the ones we're listening to, but
Okay.
let's get out there.
Right,
Then. So thank you all.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you again, sincerely, really. Thanks for the help.